Again, today's topic is unity as expressed in Tradition 1. And to introduce the topic today is James Kay. Welcome, James.
Thank you, David. It's a beautiful day in Pennsylvania. That's where I am. A desire for unity led me to recovery. I was confused by life and did not know how to communicate this confusion and fear. I needed a friend, someone I could talk to and trust, someone I could call when I needed support, who understood what I was going through. I heard the steps read at every meeting. They said we were powerless over codependence, which made me feel understood and part of this recovery process. The group I attended said we admitted we are powerless over others, that our lives had become unmanageable. I wasn't just joining another group or reading another book. I was choosing to come together with other people in unity. I know that the 12 steps started long before I found it. They will still be here long after I am gone. But it was this thread that surrounded us and drew us all together, this thread of unity. I am here for such a short time. I want to learn how to live by group conscience, by contributing whenever I can and allow others the same. Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends on CoDA unity. CoDA unity can seem messy. In my mind, unity with structure and predictability. But in our program, it is never organized or predictable because our higher power is our guide through our group conscience. We rotate service positions, so responsibilities are handed over, and an active flow of service and energy exists. The unity binds us to the principles found in the 12 traditions that help us grow and meet the constantly changing needs of the fellowship. The unity of the 12 steps started when two men needed a safe place to meet others in the same dilemma, in trust, fellowship, and the search for emotional sobriety. And that's all I wrote today, David. Thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you, James, for introducing the topic for today, unity, as expressed in Tradition 1. A reminder, this meeting is being recorded. The recordings will be posted at the Fellowship Forum website and on the YouTube channel. And links to that will be posted in the chat shortly. Thank you for being here. And what I'm learning about unity is, what I'm learning recently about unity is that it's more than what I first thought it was about. So much more. I used to think unity was about my relationships with everybody else in CoDA, respecting the group conscience at a business meeting or group conscience meeting. Even if I didn't agree with the decision, it was up to me to, in the spirit of unity, go along with the group decision. To understand that everyone, myself included, had asked my higher power for guidance and voted or expressed my feelings accordingly. And if it didn't agree with the group decision, I should go along in support of CoDA unity. What I'm learning about unity now doesn't change that, it expands it. I'm learning that unity is more than just outside of me and outwardly directed. It's also about inside of me, being in harmony with me, being in harmony with my practice, with my discipline, with the steps as I learn to walk them, with the guidelines and traditions of this program as they apply to me, as I understand them, as my consciousness about them expands. The longer I'm in the program, the more I seem to learn and need to learn about what recovery means to me, and that my recovery is expanding as I learn that unity is both outward and an inward process. This is very new for me. And so that's about as much as I think I'm able to say on the topic. But it impresses me that it took me years to realize that unity was something I needed to work on with myself, not just with others. Thank you, James, for your introduction. And with that, I will open the meeting to shares, comments, questions, and feedback. If anyone has anything they would like to share on their experience with the topic of unity. Just unmute yourself. We can go popcorn style, or if someone's speaking, you can raise your hand. The Fellowship Forum is an opportunity for us to not only share about our own experience, strength, and hope, but also share on our experience of the program and our process in the program, to ask questions about what the program means. What do the steps and traditions and promises and the things we read mean? If you have a question, today's topic is unity. Who would like to begin? James, do you have any more you'd like to add on the topic of unity? Hi, Sue.
Hi.
Hi, Sue. Welcome. But I
Hi.
need you to turn, before you begin, I need you to turn your video off because we're recording. Yeah. Don't mute yourself, just your video. Thank you,
Got
Sue.
it. You're welcome. This is my first meeting, so thank you, thank you. I'm an adult child. I've been in another 12-step program for a year and a half, and have tossed about the word codependence a million times. And I just read something from the CoDA literature, and I'm like, I got to start going to CoDA meetings. So, and I saw this today, and I came to the meeting. So I'm going to my first CoDA meeting tomorrow night, and I'm very excited to be here and to learn and to grow and to share with all of you. And I don't really have a lot to say on unity other than being with other codependents and other people in 12-step programs it's such a unifying experience. And I'm so grateful for all of you being here and being vulnerable and sharing your stories. And that's really all I have to say, other than thank you for letting me be here.
Well, Sue, thank you for being here. Congratulations on your first CoDA meeting and for being here today. You are welcome, and thank you for claiming your seat. And
David, if
yes,
I could
James.
add, Sue is brand new. So I wanted to make the point that this is a forum and the rules of a normal meeting don't apply. We're here for a healthy discussion of the topic. So that's why we have the fellowship forum once a month. So we can talk about things back and forth and have a healthy discussion. So I want to make sure everybody understood that it's not a CoDA meeting format.
Right. Thank you for mentioning that. I appreciate that, James.
Thank you.
This is my first meeting as well, and I also belong to another 12-step program, so I'm not sure what to expect.
Uh-huh. Well, welcome, Veronica, and thank you for claiming your seat. I mentioned that CoDA recommends you attend 6 meetings before deciding if CoDA is not right for you, because you may not hear what you need to hear at your first meeting. So,
Where do I find out where the Dallas meetings are?
can we talk about that at the end of this forum?
Absolutely.
In fellowship. Thank you, Veronica.
Thank you.
You may have to remind me, but don't let me forget.
Hi, this is Terry. I'm codependent. Could I share about unity?
Yes. Is that Terry? I'm having trouble.
Terry, can you hear me?
Faintly. Did you say your name was Terry?
Yes. Can you hear
Hi.
me now?
Yeah. Hi, Terry. Welcome.
Hi. Yes, this is Terry. I am codependent, and I guess I have a few thoughts about unity that I'd like to share. So, when I think about the traditions, I've come to understand that they are helpful for me as guidelines of some other ways to think about coming into situations with a different energy than the energy of codependence. So when I come into situations or come into relationships with people and interactions, there's a part of me, that codependent part, that wants to come in with, one of the 5 patterns of codependence. It's just the automatic or the default. So I've learned that sometimes avoidance comes in, and then I'm not contributing to any unity. I'm just avoiding the whole thing. Sometimes compliance comes in, and I'm just agreeing and saying yes without having my own thoughts or contributing myself, my own unique perspective and insight that might, that is valuable. I may come in with denial, so I'll just be completely confused or think that there's something else completely going on. And I might come in with control, and I want things to be my own way, or I think that there's only one way for things to be. So I've I've learned and started watching for whenever I come in and think that my way or the highway, or I am not able to speak up for myself. And so part of working the program of CoDA for me is gaining wisdom from working the traditions with my sponsor. And, part of my recovery and self-care is learning to identify and express my feelings, needs, and boundaries, and allowing other people to do the same. One of my favorite slogans is that I say to myself sometimes is, yeah, we can agree to disagree, because that's okay too. And I can just know that I'm not here to change anyone, to control anyone or situations anymore. I can turn that all over to my higher power. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to share. Thanks everyone for being here and listening. And with that, I pass.
Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for sharing, Terry. Anyone else would like to take a share, have any questions or comments on today's topic? Unity. And I'm putting the links to where you will be able to listen to these recordings in the chat. Today's recording will be posted within the next 24 hours or less. Also in the chat is the link to the CoDA YouTube channel and the CoDA Fellowship Forum tickler if you would like to be reminded about this meeting. Since we only meet once a month, it's easy to forget or miss the event. Each month we take a different topic, and we sometimes have speakers from the CoDA Fellowship on topics. And if you get the ticker, you'll know what's upcoming in this fellowship forum every Saturday, last Saturday of the month. Any more thoughts, questions, or shares on the topic of unity?
Yes, David. My name's James, and I'm codependent. I just wanted to restate that what I read in the thing that I wrote. We admitted we were powerless over others, that our lives had become unmanageable. When I was looking for unity when I came into CoDA. I didn't realize what it was, but I was alone and I was afraid. And I wasn't just joining another group or reading a book. I was making a conscious choice to come together with other people that had my same problem. And when I got in that group with those other people, my life started to change. And it was all because of unity. I found all the wonderful CoDA literature, and it changed my life. And like they say in the preamble, I was learning, I was not surviving life any longer. I was beginning to live life. And it was because I was in unity with my group, and I had friends, which I never really had friends that I could trust and talk to like I did. And when I found CoDA, when we went in, I went in, I had the no crosstalk and all the structure that CoDA has. We do have structure. We might be unorganized, or shall never be organized, but that's a different type of structure. But in the meeting, we have this wonderful structure where I can talk and nobody talks back, and I can listen to people, and I can find people that were like me, and that's the most beautiful unity that I've ever found. And it took me till I was pretty old to find it, but it changed my life. So I wanted to share that. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing that, James. Again, today's topic is unity. And are there any questions, comments, feedback, or shares on today's topic? I'm going to share on the screen I went into the in this moment daily meditation book and searched for the topic for thoughts on unity. I found a few, and I'm going to share one of them on the screen now. From January 28th, in this moment, I fit in. One of my challenges in life and recovery is to stop replaying my childhood drama. I have an older sister and I was also the youngest in my extended family of aunts, uncles, and cousins. My relatives lived within a block of us, and we socialized daily. But there was no space for me. I felt apart from and less than. I had no voice. In CoDA, I feel heard. I experience a sense of community within the fellowship. I feel connected to other members. Here, I fit in. Are there any other thoughts anyone would like to share in today's fellowship forum on the topic of unity? Well, I don't. This forum is recorded, so I'll start talking just so we don't have dead air, because it's like when you're listening to the radio and the announcer stops talking, you wonder, did the radio break? Did the station go off the air? So I need to think about something to say. Stalling for time? I hope not. Unity. Why is unity so important for this fellowship? Why is it the first tradition? Any thoughts? Does anyone have any thoughts about why unity is so important to the fellowship, to the extent that it is the first tradition? Our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon CoDA unity. Would anyone like to take a share on that thought?
Hi, this is Terry again. Can I be heard?
I hear you, Terry.
Thanks. I thought I would share another reading on Tradition 1. I'm aware there are probably lots of newcomers in this or listening to this. So just offering this. It is from the booklet Traditionally Speaking, Finding Solutions of Codependence Anonymous. And all of the booklets are available on the CoDA website in the shop area. They're very affordable. So it reads, Tradition 1, our common welfare should come first. Personal recovery depends upon CoDA unity. What is CoDA unity? We are all in CoDA for recovery. Our personal recovery depends on our adherence to the principles of the program, including the steps, traditions, and the group conscience process. In CoDA, we put aside our differences and keep opinions on outside issues private. We trust that our group conscience leads to wise and thoughtful decisions based on a higher power's guidance and our common welfare. This is what keeps CoDA from being run by any one person and provides an equal opportunity for every CoDA member to participate. We achieve CoDA unity when we respect these principles. How does my personal recovery depend on CoDA unity? Can't I do it on my own? We cannot recover in isolation. We need the unity, experience, and support of the fellowship. As we participate in meetings and listen to others, we overcome denial and gradually start to love ourselves. What is our common welfare? Our common welfare comes from our shared purpose, recovery from codependence, using the spiritual guidance of our program. We seek our common welfare in CoDA when we work for the good of all our members and the CoDA Fellowship. If any relationship between two people, in any relationship between two people, there are three concerns: one person's welfare, the other person's welfare, and the common welfare of the relationship. If there are three people in the meeting, there are four concerns. It is both challenging and rewarding to balance all these concerns. A group inventory supports the common welfare. There is a suggested process for taking a meeting inventory at the back of this publication. CoDA members share their experience, strength, and hope. 1. This tradition taught me to listen to others instead of assuming I had it right. I learned that other opinions are valuable and assist me in my recovery. In my marriage, unity is stabilizing and strengthening. When we have differences, our goal is a healthy marriage. We work to accept our differences. Many times, the differences open us up to new possibilities. I had lived alone comfortably. When I got into a relationship, it was like pouring fertilizer on my character defects. I always wanted to win. If I wasn't winning or my needs were not being met, the relationship wasn't working. But getting my partner to change or switching partners wasn't recovery. Recovery is about changing me. Now, when my partner and I are in a power struggle, I ask, what does the relationship need? Where is our common ground? Unity in our relationship isn't enmeshment. Each of us still has a distinct personality, interests, and friends. What we share is the wonderful gift of intimacy, or in CoDA terms, a healthy and loving relationship. 2. Finding common welfare in our daily relationships requires time, communication, and patience. Not always easy for codependents. In CoDA, participating in group conscious decision-making and accepting the outcome encourages me to practice new skills. These help me relate to people in new and different ways. How can I practice these skills in my work life? I want a job done and I'm willing to pay someone. The person I pay has the necessary skills and wants to be paid. This seems simple. It becomes complex when we add in everyone's personalities and codependent histories. When certain demands are made of me at work, I become defensive and tried to please everyone. Now I've learned to pause and seek solutions that are acceptable to all of us. Last month, I did not speak up at a CoDA business meeting. I heard others yelled at and interrupted. I feared that I might be next. I told myself that by being quiet, I was supporting CoDA unity. Later, I realized my silence was not in the interest of our common welfare, nor did it support my personal recovery. It is vital that I speak up when I see bullying or fighting. Acknowledging that it is hard for me to speak up and asking for my higher power's help gives me courage. 3. How do we handle strong personalities who exert control over how things are done in CoDA? CoDA's Fellowship Service Manual, FSM, contains guidelines on how to deal with a person who is acting out. Please note that FSM is available at CoDA.org for members to read and download. When we follow these guidelines, our goal is to make our program safe for everyone to participate. Our informed group conscience allows us to share our thoughts. Our crosstalk guidelines foster a safe environment in which I can express myself. It may encourage others to speak up if I share my perspective. I am reminded that I don't have to like what I accept. In our meetings, quote, in our meetings, we speak about our own experience and we listen without comment to what others share. We work toward taking responsibility in our own lives rather than giving advice to others. End quote. Another quote. The no crosstalk guidelines help keep our meeting a safe place. End quote. How did my family of origin handle controlling members? By fighting, denying, isolating, people-pleasing, shaming, rationalizing, and minimizing. It takes courage and step work to go in a different direction than the one I experienced as a child. I ask my higher power for strength to do this and recognize that I'm not alone. Sometimes it seems easier to take the old path than to practice new behaviors, but I have come to believe that the steps and traditions work. 4. Someone who does not respect the common welfare of a group or relationship can destroy it. I used to play in a community orchestra with a conductor who made rehearsals fun. When he stepped down, the conductor who was hired as a replacement was sorely lacking in people skills. Rather than encouraging us in our playing, he shamed individual players in front of all of us. When someone didn't show up for a rehearsal, we all got yelled at. Soon the orchestra began to shrink as more and more of us decided we weren't getting anything out of being members of the group. Fortunately, a new conductor was hired before the orchestra disappeared entirely, but it was a close call. And that's the end of the reading. Thanks everyone for listening and for letting me read.
Thank you for reading that from the traditionally, was that traditionally speaking? Yes, from traditionally speaking. That's an excellent reading, and thank you for bringing that. I'm putting a link in the chat if anyone is interested in getting that pamphlet. I'll put a link to where to go to get that pamphlet there. And also I will put a link to the Fellowship Service Manual if you would like to read that. There are 4 parts to the Fellowship Service Manual. And you can just look through it. It's available for free. The Traditionally Speaking is a pamphlet that is $3 plus shipping, available at CoDA CoDAResourcepublishing.org. The link to that is in the chat. Thank you again for reading that section on Tradition 1. I think that speaks to very much why Tradition 1 is so important to the fellowship, why unity is so important to the fellowship.
David, one other book worth mentioning is the 12-piece relationship toolkit.
Yes.
One couple interprets tradition 1 for use in a relationship as our common welfare should come first. Personal growth within our relationship depends on unity.
Would you like to read some of that?
I could try it. You know how my eyes are. In tradition 1.
I may have a copy. The 12-piece relational. No.
Okay.
Is that what you want? No, you want Traditionally Speaking.
I'm in the 12-piece relationship toolkit.
Oh, you are? Okay. I can share that on the screen. And then maybe people can take turns reading that.
Oh, that'd be good.
Okay. Let me put that up now.
Oh, we got to admit.
I did that. I just did that.
Okay, good.
Yeah, I got to keep an eye on that. Here we go. Can you see that, James? Perhaps you can start.
Yes, very good. Very
Thank you. And let me just announce to the person who just came in, today's topic, this is the Fellowship Forum, and today's topic is unity. Thank you, James.
Okay. Our common welfare should come first. Personal unity, personal recovery depends upon CoDA unity. And where am I? Am I in the 12-piece relationship toolkit?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank
One
you.
couple interprets tradition one for use in a relationship as follows. Our common welfare should come first. Personal growth within a relationship depends on unity. In tradition one, the underlying spiritual principle is that of unity. In pursuit of healthier relationships, we learn that it is sometimes necessary to set aside our personal desires in favor of what is good for the relationship as a whole. We try to learn to do this willingly and cheerfully, recognizing the importance of unity to our own long-term welfare. If one partner desires opinions or feelings come before the others, that is not a relationship between equal partners. This inequality has often led us to feelings of resentment or inadequacy. Sometimes it can be easier to determine the meaning of the tradition by stating that they don't mean or stating what they do not mean. Tradition one doesn't mean that we set aside our needs if our needs specific to a given relationship aren't met. That relationship is bound to fail. Instead, we learn to differentiate between our needs and our desires. What the relationship needs is almost always more. That's it.
I'm gonna. Oh, it's on this. Sorry. There. Sorry, James.
More important than what we need if we want a relationship to succeed. Tradition one also doesn't mean that one partner can trump every situation by saying, I feel distance when you, or by saying this drives a wedge between us. Instead, tradition one asks us to find the middle ground, to make our decisions based on the good of the relationship. The key question that we ask ourselves is, will the choice promote feelings of unity or disunity on my partner's part or on my part? Once we have answered this question, we are free to make an informed choice. And then there's a list of questions.
Okay. Let's see if there's a hand up. So hold those questions. Yes, Susan.
My name is Susan, and I'm a recovering codependent in a swirl of codependency right now. So I don't have a lot to share on unity, but I feel I've benefited greatly from listening to the meeting. So I'd like to contribute some by reading this wonderful piece. Other questions to consider in our study of tradition one. Number one, why is our common welfare paramount in a relationship? Number two, what does unity mean to us, mean to me? Number three, what kind of actions do I take that promote unity in my relationships? Number four, what sorts of actions do I take that promote disunity in my relationships? Number five, can I tell the difference between my needs and my desires? Number six, what is the connection between tradition one and step three, which parenthetically is made a decision to turn our will and lives over to the care of God as we understood God? Number seven, am I conscious of the difference between my long-term best interest and my short-term satisfaction? Number eight, which of my codependent behaviors get in the way of unity? Number nine, why would I set my own desires? We need to turn the page. Why would I set my own desires aside for the good of a relationship? When might this be necessary? Number 10, what actions do I feel guilty about? Is there a relationship between guilt and feelings of disunity on my part? I just want to acknowledge how I've been in another 12-step meeting group for quite a few years. And it's been my experience for me personally that God is present in those meetings. And for me, what is being shared, what I've just been reading, speaks directly to a lot of the issues that I'm dealing with right now that are about codependency. And so I very much appreciate the opportunity to be present and to hear what is being shared and to have shared myself. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing and your service today and for being here. And I will put a link to the 12-piece relationship toolkit in the chat, and also listening to the conversations today, I am reminded of a promise 6. And I'm going to share that in the chat. I learned to see, promise 6. I learned to see myself as equal to others. My new and renewed relationships are all with equal partners. Unity, expressed in so many places in the fellowship, in the steps, traditions, and promises, and in our daily lives. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here, for listening, for sharing, and for service, and just for being here. It is time to bring this meeting of the Fellowship Forum to a close. Is there anyone who has a pressing share, question, or comment they would like to voice before we close the meeting?